live from New York. It's the show saying goodbye to Young Jock. Was that what it was? Kadarius Toney's rap name?
Oh, no, Young Jock is an actual
Yeah, right.
Young Joker.
Sorry, that Young
was
Joker.
Young
I'm sorry.
Joker.
I'm like, yes, I know Young Jock.
Yeah, Young Jock.
Young
of course.
Joker.
It's going down.
Yes.
Famous Young Jock album.
Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe Joker, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably Joker.
Yeah, that's right.
Joker.
Yeah,
Young
there you
Joker.
go.
Andy Reid even played a few songs at the facility.
Can I tell you something? You maybe should have talked about this little improvisation at the top of the show beforehand.
Well, Kadarius Toney.
But two-time Super Bowl champion.
We're
I
starting
didn't
with
see it. I just know.
an optimistic Aaron Rodgers. Granted, he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in 23 games, but Rodgers envisions a successful road to the final game of his career, telling Albert Breer, the picture-perfect ending is going out holding the Lombardi. That rarely happens for people. There's only been a couple of guys. John Elway did it. Peyton Manning did it. Very few guys can do that. I didn't want my last image of me being carted off the field. Okay. Brew, do you think this is a realistic goal?
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean I'm predicting it to happen, but realistic, like within the realm of possibility, sure.
Yeah.
Like the Jets are going, Nick, I say it, this for the umpteenth time. On paper, the Jets are magnificent.
Magnificent?
Magnificent.
That's
hold on.
too strong.
Okay, let me bring the paper to you.
Okay.
One of the best defensive backfields in the league. Is that fair?
Agreed.
Okay. Nice linebacking core.
Agreed.
Quinnen Williams up front.
That's right. I think the D-line is a question mark past Quinnen Williams because the edge rushers. You know what I mean?
But
So
would you agree? I mean, they should be.
They should be a
one of the
very
top
good defense.
Okay, a top defense.
Yeah.
Offensively, I know you don't love Garrett Wilson, but he gets 1,000 yards with the worst quarterback in the league.
No, I do love Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
Garrett Wilson, to me, is the only known quantity on the offense.
Well,
the only
injuries because of injuries. But
And
if we just take out, well, Mike Williams isn't. I mean, I'm not worried about his injuries are an issue. He's actually supposed to practice today.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
good.
so game one, Mike Williams
all that
should be
matters.
out there.
Hey, CeeDee
Breece
Lamb's
Hall,
practicing.
When he plays, he's
Breece
nice
Hall's
and he's
good.
not old. The offensive line, yes, Teron Smith, you got to worry about the age, but they drafted a
that
tackle
was smart.
in the draft. I think they added a little depth enough where if they have some injuries, they could sustain it. And Aaron Rodgers, I will say this, and you probably disagree, Nick, because he went to Egypt, okay? But the dude, I think he's all in. I gotta be honest.
That's an insane take.
I think he's all in. Even though he went to Egypt, and I didn't like that.
What about
He
considering
still
running
was
for vice
there in the
president?
off. Well, he didn't. All right, he didn't run for and his guy is still around somewhere. You know. All right. So he's all in. He was in the offseason workouts for the first time in years. You know, he wasn't doing that with the Packers the last few years, and he is taking on the challenge. Like, he is not running away, which I think is too much. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. But he is not running away from Super Bowl expectations. He's actually playing into it.
I'll be honest.
You don't think he is?
No, well, I to a degree, but I looked at this more of like, I don't want to say wish casting.
That's a good word.
But that's probably a little stronger than I mean. I think, to me, this was more melancholy almost about, listen, I'm not going to have my career end the worst way imaginable, being carted off the field. I've dedicated my life to this. I am one of the greatest players ever. I am one of the most decorated players ever. And so the opposite of that is the greatest ending ever, which is, as he mentioned, two all-time legendary quarterbacks have pulled it off, really, Elway and Peyton. And by the way, neither one of those guys, under the circumstances that I think Rodgers would have to pull it off under.
Peyton?
That's what I mean.
You're saying Rodgers has to play better.
Exactly. I think for the Jets to win, Rodgers has to be
in part because he's got to climb Mount Mahomes.
Well, yes, he's in because the conference, because John Elway, 5 Super Bowls, 2 wins, all-time legendary player. But at the end, that was Terrell Davis. That was Terrell Davis. It was our guy Stink. It was it was that. The worst year of Peyton's career by a mile, even including, in my opinion, his rookie season when he threw 30 picks, was his final year when they won the Super Bowl.
Benched.
Right, he got benched, came back, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But so this would be very different. This would be kind of the greatest ending ever by a quarterback. In fact, not kind of, it would be. This
if he won it and retired.
The Elway back-to-back Super Bowls in the helicopter, that's pretty damn good too. But given the fact that he has been doubted, he has been criticized, he just popped his Achilles, this is a woebegone franchise. He'll be 41 when it comes around. So if we are talking about can he pull off a Disney movie ending for the New York Jets, no, I don't think that's realistic. I don't begrudge him for aspiring to this. I agree with Wildes that while I find certain things Rodgers has done and says and seems to believe to be just such a turnoff, to use weird terms, there's also occasionally I read one of these interviews or read this article and I'm like, that's a likable guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
he came off that
and
way,
so
absolutely.
I have no issue with these statements, but I don't think they're realistic statements. I really don't. No.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. It's within the realm of possibility, but no, I don't think it's going to happen. But here's a question, just to spin it forward, Brew, because this is how I took it. Picture perfect ending is going out holding Lombardi. He's talked about playing 2 years, 3. That has kind of moved in a few different directions. And that's not totally dissimilar to what Brady did, where it's like, how long do you have? And it's coming back and forth. Do you think if they won this year that he would hang it up?
Well, he kind of contemplated that in the article. I feel like he would play. It would be storybook. But look, Michael Jordan couldn't do it. He walked away initially after the basket against Utah, but then came back. Rodgers seems like he wants to keep playing.
Okay.
So I do feel like
I could make a strong argument like he seems to be interested in a lot of other stuff.
There's no doubt about that. And if he did win it, I would recommend he walk away because it's not going to get better. I don't think they'd go back to back. But I feel like he probably would keep playing.
Okay. You think he's hanging it up?
I think that there's the majority of outcomes that this season's going to end in have Rodgers retiring. I think there's very few where he comes back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think if it goes really poorly, he's retiring.
Yep.
If it's just like his last year in Green Bay, it's like, okay, it wasn't a disaster. We were alive for the playoffs at the very end and, didn't make it. Then it's just like, okay, this is who I am now. That's not fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's kind of what you think is going to happen, right?
Correct. And if they win the Super Bowl, so there's like all the median and bad outcomes, I think he retires. The best outcome he retires. The only one where he doesn't is like they win 12 games, they win a playoff game or two, and they lose deep in the playoffs, and it's like, you know what? And he's good throughout the year. And it's like, you know what? Another year, the young players get better. But I think, in one of those, if we're talking about the different paths, I think like 7 of the 9 most likely end in retirement. Even the best one ends in retirement.
All right. Rodgers and our resident Jets fan, Christina, are not the only believers. Jets are now favored in the AFC East. The odds dropped the Bills.
This guy's unbelievable.
Jets are at 1, Buffalo's at 2, Miami's at 3, and then the drive for 5 Patriots. This on the heels of Predictions Week where, Brew, I think you had the Jets winning the AFC East. So what is your reaction, and should the Bills feel disrespected?
Well, the Bills have been favored to win the AFC East for most of the last few months.
Yeah.
It was just a few days ago, right? Yeah. When the Jets became favored.
Yesterday morning, I think.
Yes. Obviously, it leaked that I was picking the Jets. Yeah. Obviously. People read between the lines. I'll give them credit, though. They could see me leaning toward picking the Jets the last few times I was here, which was a while ago.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
All right, so it leaked.
Archives.
And the Jets.
So you're moving the division winner markets?
Things. I guess so. I guess so.
Okay, that's interesting.
The Jets should be favored, okay? Now, here's to answer your question, should the Bills feel disrespected? Look, if they want to make this a motivational tool, if they want to use this to motivate them, have at it, because they should. Mm-hmm. They should look at this as disrespect. Give them a little extra bulletin board material, okay? However, I don't think it's disrespectful. The Bills lost a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not just their top 2 receivers, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They lost 5 of their 8 captains. They lost Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White. There it is right there. Mitch Morse. Those were all captains. Leonard Floyd, obviously a good defensive player. Like, they lost a ton, and now you got Matt Milano again, who's injured and gonna be out most of the season.
He was out, to be fair, he was out
last year, right?
season.
But he's a really good player.
No, he's an excellent player.
And without those guys, they may need more. Now, I do think their defense will be solid. I think disrespect would be if you pick them not to make the playoffs. But to pick them not to win the division, I don't think is disrespectful considering all they lost.
All right, so I think this is actual disrespect. And I think that Vegas is just so manic when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. They are either the Super Bowl co-favorites for no reason, or you know what? A team that has as many AFC East championships in the last quarter century as the Indianapolis Colts, who haven't played in the division in almost a quarter century, they're the favorites. I mean,
in fairness, they added Aaron Rodgers.
A team that is coached by a man who in his 3 years in the AFC East has won 4 divisional games, is going to win the division. Usually to win the division, you have to win 4 or 5 divisional games in a season. Bob Saleh is 4-14 in 3 years.
4, and he went 2 last year.
And 2 the year before, and the 0-for-6 his first year. But again, it's never been his fault. The guy is it's not his fault.
You know that.
Listen, I know that for some reason win-loss record matters for everyone except for the head coach, which oddly is the only person it actually really matters for. Yes, this is disrespectful. Favoring a team who has the same number of AFC East titles as the Houston Oilers have AFC East titles in their history to win the division over a team. The Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East as many times in the last 4 years as the Jets have won it in the Jets' history. The Jets aren't a new franchise.
That's not how it works.
What do you mean it's not how it works?
That's like me saying the Dallas Cowboys, because of their history, are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
No, it's not like that.
I mean, really, you're talking about ancient. You act like the Jets didn't have a great quarterback.
It's almost like you saying the Dallas Cowboys in 2024 should have the Dallas Cowboys' lack of success the last 29 years held against them, which you say all the time.
No, they've won 12 games each
No,
last
their
3 years.
postseason's lack of success.
When did that become
You use it all the time.
That's later on in the show.
And so, yeah, the Bills have far and away the best quarterback in the division.
Okay.
The Bills have the history within the division, recent history of success. The Bills have done well against every team in this division, every coach in this division. Again, not exactly a well-known Buffalo Bills fan here, but I'm also honest and fair. The Bills' floor, think about it like this. What's the floor for Bills wins this year? If Josh Allen's healthy. What's their floor for wins?
9.
Yeah.
Their floor is 9, and I would say, I would have, you're right. What's the Jets, and I'll give Aaron Rodgers health. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, just guaranteed quarterback health. What's their floor for wins?
Honestly, to me,
7.
8.
Okay, I would say it was
because if they won 7 the last 2 years with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I know we always say that, but things change. Like I do think if I were the Bills, I would try to use this as a rallying cry. We were second in the odds to win the Super Bowl the last couple years. Now we're second in our own division that we've won for basically everyone on the team has only ever won the division. You know, there's a few players been there longer than 4 years. So, yeah, I mean, that's how I think they should feel.
I just don't believe in them. Just doesn't feel like their year.
The Bills?
You're with me.
It just doesn't feel like it. I like Keon Coleman, but I'm going to look at this offense. I'm like, if it goes wrong and the Dolphins light them up and Tyreek's running into the end zone and Waddle's running into the end zone, Mostert's running for 50 yards, and then Josh Allen gets out there and it's like, all right, Keon, you're our guy.
They don't have a proven number one. They don't have a proven
number one, but they have a quarterback that you guys have been speaking praises for years. Those guys, when they're in the prime of their career, if they're healthy, give you a floor, and it's a high floor. And so I think the Bills are a little bit of, the last few years with better marketing, the AFC's Cowboys. We know they're going to be awesome in the regular season, and we know they're going to disappoint in the postseason. If you look at the most regular season wins the last 3 years, it's the Chiefs, Cowboys, and Bills. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, hey, look at my quarterback's MVP finish, look at these numbers, and then they are not as cartoonish losses in the postseason, but they are very disappointing. And so I think the Bills are going to be fine in the regular season.
Okay, there you go, Buffalo.
See,
you sounded like a Bill.
No, I'm just sounding, once again,
I'm
sounding like the only person who's been right about him for 5 years, and I'm not going to break my streak.
I mean, you got all sides of the coin there.
What do you mean? They're gonna win the division.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose early in the playoffs. It's not all sides of the coin. It's
but
one
if Josh
side
Allen
of
is
one
terrible,
coin.
you also get to take a victory lap.
No, I'll be wrong. I wouldn't enjoy that at all. What do you mean?
It's a savvy play.
It's not a play. It's analysis.
I know, but it's a savvy move.
It's not a move.
It's savvy analysis.
He's protecting himself.
There's no protecting needed.
Let's
move on.
They go 8-9. You're like, Josh Allen. We're going to be like, you were wrong about Josh Allen. You're like, was I? Drop the banner. Okay. In any event, let's check in on the Brock Purdy roast that is being emceed by Grant Cohen of Sports Illustrated. Here's his latest Good Day, Bad Day article from 49ers camp. Brock, quote, threw yet another interception. In addition, Fred Warner and Jair Brown both dropped interceptions that Purdy spoon-fed to them.
Oh my. I mean,
that's a shot at Fred Warner then.
Yeah. Really? Yes.
It seems like Purdy really misses Brandon Ayuk. Brewer, you're starting to get slightly concerned.
Slightly concerned.
A little bit.
Grant Cohen.
Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I love Sports Illustrated, and Grant's fine. But in this subject, Grant, by his own admission, has been viewed as a Brock Purdy hater. That's a direct quote.
Yeah, but
he knows he's viewed as a Brock Purdy hater.
Do you think this is fake news?
It's Michael Silver writing ad nauseum every day, day in, day out, about Brock Purdy's interceptions. It's Dieter Kurtenbach writing about Brock Purdy's interceptions every day. It's Kyle Shanahan talking about them all the time.
Do you think it happened? Do you think
it happened?
Okay, are you
But why is
slightly
nobody
concerned?
else making even a small deal out of it?
So you're not...
He's the only guy making a big deal out of it.
I think he's the only one who writes the everyday practice reports, to be fair, where he says the good and the bad, and Brock is showing up in the good. But so the answer is you are no concern.
The answer is that I will take the record over 21 regular season games and 6 playoff games and an NFC title game performance last year when he led the comeback and a Super Bowl game where he played well and left the field with the W.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that over some training camp and practice day woes.
So can I just ask something? Because you're the first things first resident grader, right?
Yes.
Yeah, professor.
Okay. Can you give Brock a grade on this training camp and preseason? Because I think we know, Brew.
It sounds like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you. He wouldn't get an A,
No,
right?
he wouldn't get an A.
He wouldn't get an A. So let's get rid of that.
No, he wouldn't get a B.
He wouldn't get a B. So he wouldn't get that.
No, he wouldn't get a C. He would get a D.
Well,
he would get a D.
Yeah.
That's slightly concerning.
That's slightly concerning. I can't believe.
Okay, hold on. I wish we could get the placards back.
Okay, I'll go.
Because what would
him.
he get for the first year and a half of his career?
An A.
Okay.
An A.
I'm like Mike Tomlin. I put more weight on the games in the arena than in practice.
That makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
No, we're just talking about the things that have most recently happened. So you would give him a D for this training camp. Okay, that's all. Brock Purdy's biggest defender thinks he has a barely passing grade for training camp. Now, he doesn't think it'll matter. I think everything matters. I think every little bit and piece matters.
So when Mac Jones leads all quarterbacks,
I think it matters. Wild.
You get an A+?
100%. You tried to get me on that yesterday, and I said I actually totally agree with you. It matters. It doesn't matter. I don't think that this one training camp matters more. This training camp as entirety doesn't matter more all put together than one regular season game. I agree with Brew on that. You know what I mean? Those things.
You don't sound like it.
No, because it's just what we have to evaluate in the moment. We can go back and give him flowers for week 10. It's not what we have. A D.
Find me the Dieter Kurtenbach column.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.